Maria's story is etched into the cracked pavement of San Julian Street, a silent witness to countless lives unraveling in the shadows of downtown Los Angeles. She arrived in Los Angeles in 2021, full of hope and ambition, her dreams as bright as the city lights. Maria believed this city would be her fresh start, a place where she could build a new life and leave her past behind. But a workplace injury changed everything. Prescription opioids, meant to heal her pain, became her undoing. What started as a doctor's order soon spiraled into dependence as the pills dulled not just her pain, but her hope. When the prescription stopped, withdrawal drove her to the streets, desperate for relief. There she found a cheaper, deadlier fix, one that offered escape, but at a devastating cost. Her life unraveled, job lost, apartment gone, friends drifting away. Her world shrank to a tent on Skid Row, surrounded by others whose stories echoed her own. The woman who once welcomed tourists became a ghost, surviving day to day, chasing relief from addiction. Her family lost contact, unable to reach her through the haze of her struggle. Her story faded into the background noise of thousands like her, each one a life interrupted, a dream deferred. Addiction wasn't her choice or a moral failing. It was a disease, worsened by a system that dispensed pills but withheld support. The safety net meant to catch her was full of holes. On the streets, she found a community, but it was one bound by trauma and the grip of synthetic drugs. They shared what little they had, united by hardship and loss. Together, they all chased fleeting peace in a world of chaos, searching for comfort in the darkness, even if only for a moment. Maria's journey from hope to homelessness shows how quickly dreams can collapse, and how fragile stability can be when support is out of reach. Today, she's still out there, one of thousands, each a data point in a public health disaster, each with a name, a history, and a story worth telling. Her daily struggle is a fight against hunger, violence, and the drug that stole her future. Every day is a battle for survival, dignity, and hope. To understand Skid Row, we must see the faces behind the statistics and listen to the stories that too often go unheard. We must start with the human cost. One story, multiplied by thousands, each a reminder that behind every number is a life, and every life matters. Skid Row in Los Angeles and Kensington Avenue in Philadelphia are twin epicenters of a national tragedy. Both are shaped by decades of neglect and failed policies, not overnight misfortune. LA's Blue Book Plan and Kensington's economic decline concentrated poverty and addiction, creating pressure cookers of despair. The demographics have shifted, but the sense of abandonment remains. Rows of tents, the smell of burning fentanyl, and vacant stares are common to both. The crisis is systemic. A lack of affordable housing, deadly drugs, and a healthcare system that fails to treat addiction and mental illness. These places are not just collections of tragedies, they are monuments to collective failure. In 2025, over 67,000 people are unhoused in LA County, each a life without shelter. The unsheltered population has grown, even as some move into temporary shelters. Skyrocketing home prices and rents make stability impossible for many. One unexpected expense can push a family onto the streets. The safety net is gone. Millions are one paycheck from disaster. Addiction and mental illness often follow homelessness, not the other way around. Research shows many only start using drugs after losing their homes. California's homelessness crisis is fundamentally about housing, economics, and inequality. Each statistic is a story of loss and a measure of our society's empathy. Skid Row in 2025 is a parallel world, part marketplace, part home, and part public health emergency. Here, the boundaries between survival and despair blur, creating a landscape unlike any other in the city. Tents and makeshift shelters crowd the sidewalks. Everything is for sale, from scavenged electronics to worn-out shoes. But oblivion is the main currency. People barter for food, clothing, and sometimes just a moment of safety. Drugs are sold and used openly, with law enforcement overwhelmed and often forced to simply observe. Addiction and mental illness are everywhere, fueling a cycle that seems impossible to break. Trash piles up, sanitation is non-existent, and disease spreads quickly through the encampments. The air is thick with the smell of decay and neglect. The Supreme Court's 2024 ruling allows cities to penalize public camping, but this only displaces people, not solves homelessness. The law is enforced, but the underlying crisis remains untouched. Encampment cleanups move people from tents to temporary shelters, but the root problem remains. Many are left with nowhere to go, forced to start over again and again. Most housing offered is temporary, not permanent. The promise of stability is fleeting, and the cycle of displacement continues. The open-air market is dismantled in one spot, only to reappear elsewhere. The crisis simply shifts from block to block, never truly addressed. The crisis is not about tents, it's about the lack of real solutions. Without investment in mental health, addiction treatment, and affordable housing, nothing changes. Clearing camps without housing just pushes suffering out of sight. The disease persists, untreated, as the city's most vulnerable are left to wander, invisible but never gone. The homeless crisis is now inseparable from the fentanyl epidemic, creating a devastating feedback loop that's reshaping life on the streets. Fentanyl, cheap and potent, dominates Skid Row, causing a surge in overdose deaths. Its presence is everywhere, hidden in pills, mixed into other drugs, and nearly impossible to avoid for those struggling with addiction. By 2023, fentanyl was linked to 70% of overdose deaths among LA's unhoused, a staggering statistic that underscores the scale of this emergency. Overdose deaths among the homeless have skyrocketed, even as the general population sees improvement. The gap is widening, leaving the most vulnerable at even greater risk. Fentanyl is unforgiving. A single pill can kill. Its potency means that even experienced users are at constant risk, and accidental exposure can be fatal. For those living in constant trauma, fentanyl offers a brief escape from pain, but often at the cost of life itself. The cycle of despair and addiction deepens with every loss. Outreach workers fight to save lives with naloxone, reversing overdoses day after day, but the cycle repeats relentlessly, and the need never seems to end. The toll on frontline workers is immense. Burnout, grief, and frustration are constant companions as they witness tragedy after tragedy. Treating addiction as a crime has failed. Fentanyl has made this a life-or-death emergency that demands compassion, not punishment. About 37% of Skid Row's unsheltered population uses illicit drugs regularly, a stark reminder of how deeply substance use is woven into the fabric of homelessness here. We can't police our way out. Solutions require harm reduction, treatment on demand, and real mental health care, delivered with urgency and empathy. The crisis demands a new approach, one that recognizes the humanity of every person affected and meets this emergency with bold, compassionate action. The crisis ripples outward. Families grieve, businesses struggle, and first responders burn out. A small business owner near Skid Row faces daily conflict, dwindling customers, and constant cleanup. He's torn between compassion and desperation to save his livelihood. His story is one of thousands, collateral damage from a crisis left to fester. Yet, resilience persists. Some find recovery, helped by grassroots groups and volunteers who provide food, clothes, and kindness. These acts of compassion form an unofficial safety net. Stories of healing remind us that no one is a lost cause. Recovery is possible with support and belief in human dignity. From street artists to outreach workers, resilience shines through. These stories prove that investing in people yields hope. Skid Row's crisis is decades in the making. The loss of manufacturing jobs in the 1970s and 80s shattered working-class stability. Affordable housing was demolished for development, while policies like Proposition 13 slashed public funding. Federal cuts to housing and social services turned cracks into chasms. Mental health deinstitutionalization left thousands on the streets without support. Today, 17% of LA's homeless suffer from serious mental illness, a legacy of broken promises. These are not individual failures, but systemic ones. We deindustrialized, defunded, and deinstitutionalized without building new support systems. To move forward, we must confront these roots honestly. The face of homelessness in 2025 is diverse and complex. Minority communities, especially Black residents, are overrepresented, a legacy of racism and discrimination. Seniors, women, children, and veterans are increasingly at risk. Seniors lose homes to rising rents. Women and children flee violence. Veterans struggle with trauma and bureaucracy. These realities shatter stereotypes. The unhoused are not a monolith. They are neighbors, families, and veterans. Each story is unique, shaped by poverty, illness, and systemic failure. Recognizing this diversity is the first step toward real solutions. The scale of Skid Row's crisis is daunting, but solutions exist. The Housing First model, immediate, unconditional housing, works. It's cost-effective, breaking the cycle of ER visits and police calls. Permanent supportive housing addresses root causes, not just symptoms. Grassroots organizations provide vital community and connection. We need massive investment in outreach, harm reduction, and treatment. Solving Skid Row's crisis tests our collective character. We must move from blame to solutions, seeing the humanity in everyone. The path forward: more affordable housing, better mental health and addiction services, and tackling systemic inequality. It's a long road, but it's the only way to ensure no one is left behind.